Hi everyone, welcome to the Google Hangout for Peru. Thank you so much for joining us. Sorry we're getting started a little bit late today. So my name is Arianna Pattek. You guys have been getting many emails from me about Duolingo. We're just going to go around and introduce ourselves. I work here at Peace Corps headquarters in the Office of Innovation.
Hi everyone, buenos dias. My name is Marcela Trask. I'm your country desk officer, and I'm also here at headquarters. Welcome.
Hi everyone, I'm Amy Narr. I am a volunteer here in Peru with the Community Economic Development Program. Nice to meet you.
Hola a todos, my name is Enrique Liñan. I'm the training manager and I also work here in Peace Corps Peru.
Great. So before we get started, I just wanted to give everyone a quick overview of the Duolingo program and why it's important. You guys are now in week 7 of the program and you are absolutely killing it. It's going really well. I was just telling Marcela before we got started that the numbers for Peru, for your specific group, are higher than our entire global average. So seriously, well done. Huge pat on the back to you guys. So why is Duolingo important? So as we are going to discuss today, language is the key to being a successful and happy Peace Corps volunteer. And so the idea behind the Duolingo program is that we're supplementing your language training before you get to pre-service training to get you started and kind of give you a leg up. And so you can hit the ground running once you get to your country. And so Duolingo is a cool opportunity for us to integrate social components and challenges with your language learning to make it fun and easy to use. And as I've mentioned before in a few of our emails, there's a couple of different ways you can do that, either through your computer or there's a mobile app. There's also, with the mobile app, there's an online feature too. So let's say a few of you emailed me and said that you've been traveling. And so you can do it on your mobile app, and then once you have Wi-Fi, you can upload your progress afterwards. So there's always different ways that you guys can get your practice in. And so every week we ask you to do 150 XP or experience points and at least 5 days of being active on Duolingo. So the XP, we chose 150 because we believe that's a good amount of time for you to be practicing every week. And then the 5 days active is good for you to get into the habit of practicing language every day, at least a little bit every day. Because once you get to Peru, it's going to be all language all the time. And that's going to be your reality for the rest of your service. So it's good to start switching your brain and making language learning a priority. And so for this upcoming week, for week 7, as you guys have been reading my emails and Facebook posts, your assignment is 150 XP. Be active for at least 5 days if you can. And then this week we have a special music challenge thanks to Enrique and Amy, who put together a fun YouTube playlist for you to listen to. And then on the Facebook poll, just vote for your favorite song. And feel free also to comment in Spanish about what you think about the music. So I'm going to show you, let's see if my screen share will work. Okay, so I'm going to show you right now just the Duolingo dashboard. One second. So this right here is the Duolingo dashboard, just so you guys are familiar with what we are seeing. Hold on one second, let me change. So hopefully you guys can see my screen, but this is the Duolingo dashboard. And here we have all of you guys listed in the classroom, 51 of you. And it says here if you've done your assignments on time or you've missed them, and we see your total XP points right here. And from here, we're able to tell how many days you've been active, how many lessons you've completed. So Alejandro right here, you're beasting it with 201 lessons. Your course progress, there's 64 skills in the course. And so when you hit 64, that's when we know that you've completed the course, so to speak. And your total XP points right here. And as I've said before, we assign 150 XP as an assignment every week. And so 4 of you already have completed the assignment for this week, which is fantastic. So this is basically how we've been tracking all of your information through the Duolingo dashboard. So back here. So that's that. So I guess I'll turn it over now to Amy. Oh, before I do that, also, there's a Q&A focus in the Google Hangout. So if you have any questions as we're going through this, please type them in and we'll get to them at the end of this broadcast. But now I'll turn it over to Amy and she'll talk a little bit about her experiences.
Thanks, Arianna. So like I said, I'm Amy. I'll give you a little background about me first. I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I studied international business at the University of Wisconsin, and now I'm here in the Economic Development Program in Peru. I got here June 2013. I'm with the group 21, and so we did our 3 months of training here in Peru, and then we were sent out to our sites. I served my 2 years in the northern coastal town of Lambayeque. It's called Reque. It's a small community in Lambayeque. And it was about 12,000 people total. And I lived with the host family there and completed my service. So I finished my service in August 2015, and I extended my service to do a 3rd year, and now I'm working here in Lima in the office with Peace Corps. I'm the volunteer coordinator now for the Community Economic Development Program. I'm also working with an NGO in Lima, a feminist NGO, a Peruvian feminist NGO, working in women's empowerment and community banks and savings programs. So it's really great. I'm loving my experience in Peru, obviously, because I extended my service. You guys are going to have a great time. You really hit the jackpot. It's great here. Peace Corps Peru is wonderful. And so a little bit about language. We had the training in the beginning, and it was really intense. The language facilitators are great. You get tired. Honestly, you're going to be tired at the end of the day. You're going to be exhausted. But the language facilitators make it exciting. They make it interesting. It's different every day. You're in a classroom for a little bit. You're doing conversation. Then you're out in the streets. You're working with people in the community, doing surveys, doing interviews, learning about the culture. It's really interactive and it's really all-inclusive. So it's going to be intense, but it's going to be wonderful. I had a really good time in training, actually. It's a good time to learn a lot about the culture, the history of Peru, the language, customs, and you also get to know your fellow volunteers that you're going to be serving with for the next 2 years. So it's a really intensive time, but it's a really good time. Once you get to site, I feel like is when your language learning kind of switches and it's more on your own. You have to make your own study plan, and it's obviously you're working a lot with your community members, your family members, so you're conversing a lot in Spanish, but it's also good to have your own type of study plan. For example, sitting down and reading for 20 minutes or half an hour before you go to bed, or listening to music in Spanish. You're going to hear a ton of reggaeton, a lot of salsa here, so you'll have a lot of opportunity to listen to music in Spanish. That's really helpful. Your Peruvian families will be watching TV. You can watch news with them. That's a really great way to start a conversation, listen to the news here, and then talk about it with your family. There's a political campaign going on right here as well as in the States. So that's what everyone's talking about right now is the political campaign here, good subject of conversation. And so there are a lot of different ways to continue your language learning once you get into site. So that's all I have, really. I don't know if you want me to comment on anything else. I'm excited to meet you guys. There's falta 4 semanas nomás. It's gonna be really wonderful. So welcome to Peace Corps Peru.
Thank you so much, Amy.
No problem.
Now, do we have any questions from?
Yeah. So I have 2 that were sent to me beforehand. I'm just checking to see if anyone else. You can also check on the Q&A section if you're watching live right now and type some in as they come up. But I have 2 right now that I'll just pass along to you, Enrique. The first one, what will be the importance of learning another language besides Spanish? And what is the chance that we will learn a different language in PST?
Okay. Yeah, so our language program is basically for Spanish. Like we want all our volunteers to be very strong, have very strong language skills in Spanish first. And then we do have some communities where Quechua is spoken, but you will be told about the reality of Quechua in our communities here. There are some communities where Quechua is spoken, but it's usually the elders in the community speak Quechua, but younger people do not. So what we do for the Quechua language learning is we at the beginning, you guys are going to have an LPI, a language proficiency interview. We already sent out an email about that. So after you have that interview, we will determine your language level, and then we will place you in language classes. So the people with the highest level of Spanish get to go to the Quechua classes. but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be going to a Quechua speaking site. It only means that since you have a strong language level in Spanish, then we're placing you in a Quechua class so you can start learning a second language. Then after site assignment week, if a volunteer or a trainee who has a lower language level, a Spanish language level, is going to be placed in a Quechua community because of their background and their CV and their skills, and the program managers decided they have to go to one of these communities, then they will get Quechua language training, intensive Quechua language training after site assignment week, that is week 5. Okay?
Okay, great. And I guess that's related to our second question that we have. Another invitee asked, can we be placed in a community where a dialect is the prominent language?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. A trainee asked, can we be placed in a community where a dialect is the prominent language?
Okay, and that's, again, like the placement depends on like a lot of different factors. You know, like placement happens in week 5 of pre-service training, and it's based on staff observations, CV reviews, skills, interviews with the program managers, with the programming and training specialists. So there are a lot of different factors that influence the decision of the program manager for a volunteer or trainee placement. So you will definitely have a lot of time to discuss this with the staff, with Peace Corps Peru staff. Our Peace Corps volunteer coordinators also give input for this. So it's a teamwork. All Peace Corps Peru staff work together to place trainees in the place that they're going to be the most effective. So don't you worry about placement just now, for now. When you get to Peru, we will have plenty of time to talk about that. Okay. And now I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the language proficiency interview. Most of you have already scheduled a time for the interview, but there's still some people that haven't done that. So please, it is very important for us to be able to evaluate your language level, because this will definitely help us start working on the language groups and the language facilitators that will start preparing the sessions for you too. So please, if you haven't chosen one time for your language proficiency interview, go to that link that I sent and do choose one of those times available. Your language classes will be pretty small. You will be working in groups of 5 or 6 trainees in each class. As Amy said, there's a lot of interactive activities. You're going to be interacting with host country nationals a lot. You're going to be going out of the communities. Language skills and language proficiency is very important for your community integration. So that's why we focus a lot on that. And the first 3 or 4 weeks of pre-service training are going to be very heavy on language, because we want you to get to that level where you can communicate with people, and then you can start learning more about the culture and also apply those technical skills that you guys have. The language requirement for swearing in is intermediate mid. We'll explain to you more in depth what this means, but just so you have an idea about that. And then finally, we will be having a conference call. Marcela will be giving you more information about that. But at that conference call, we'll be answering you more questions about programmatic areas, requirements for swearing in, and we'll give you some advice on what to pack and some general advice on medical and safety and security. Okay.
So while you were talking, Enrique, we had 2 other questions come in. So thank you guys for using the Q&A function. So before I turn it over to Marcela, I'll just ask these. Angeline asks, will any materials be provided that will be helpful once we get to our site, like the equivalent of Google Translate or a reference of some type?
Okay, yes, we do have a lot of materials. That's why we ask that you bring a flash drive, because we give you a lot of resources in your flash drives. We also, we also have textbooks that we give you. We give each trainee a dictionary and some grammar books. And there's some manuals that the language facilitators have put together that we will give you. A lot of our volunteers, they use online dictionaries that they download to their phones. That's another possibility. But we do give you a dictionary. We do give a dictionary to each trainee or volunteer before they go to their sites.
I felt that I had all the resources I needed. Once I swore in after training, I felt prepared for site, and I had more than enough resources for my job. So don't worry about that.
And you have staff here that will be around, and they will provide you with more resources if you need them.
Okay, great. And then we have one other question from Jenna. She asks, how often are we evaluated during PST on our language skills? Do we have the chance to move around language skills groups, or are we in that group for the entire 12 weeks?
That's a great question. Yeah, so the initial language proficiency interview will give us an idea what level you're at. Then at the week before you go to your sites, so week 5, you will go. You will have another language proficiency interview, and then after that, when you come back from the site exploration, you will be placed in a different language class according to your level. So you move around. Like sometimes you arrive at a novice, let's say a novice mid or novice high level, and then after 4 or 5 weeks in country, then you move to an intermediate level. So then you are switched to another language class. You want to comment on that experience, Amy?
Yep, I think I placed into intermediate low when I got to country, and then I switched once during training, and I moved up to intermediate mid. So, and you advance without even, maybe you feel like you're hitting a plateau and you're just frustrated and you can't do it anymore, but you are learning. You experiences, day-to-day experiences, talking with locals and with your host families at night, you advance faster than you think. So you will move around in training, and yeah. I have no doubt everyone will advance just fine.
Yeah, and always talk to us, talk to your language facilitators, tell them about your concerns, tell them how you learn best. And they are great, and they have a lot of experience working with volunteers and trainees. So they will be able to try to adapt their teaching, and so that you can better learn.
Okay, great. So that's all the questions that we have, but feel free to submit some more as we go on. I'm going to turn it over now to Marcela.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone, again. I am, as a country desk officer, I am the person helping with the logistics of your staging, your communication about any pre-departure information that we need from you. So feel free to give me a call anytime with any questions that you may have. But just as a quick update for your group, we have everyone's no-fee passport. That means that's the passport you'll be using for your 2 years in service and for 27 months. And we have all of those here. And we are working with the Peruvian consulate in DC to process your visas. Most everyone's visas have been processed. I think there were just 2 people who we've been communicating with, and those folks know who they are. If you haven't heard from me, then that's good news. And we have everyone's international flight booked. That means the flight from Philadelphia to Lima. You should have received a staging email called Peace Corps Peru Staging Information as of yesterday afternoon from the staging unit. If you have not, please let me know, and I'll make sure that you receive it. In that email, you will have the hotel information. You have a schedule of what staging is going to look like. You have the international flight itinerary, baggage information, and the first thing that you need to do once you've read through all of that email, there's a lot of information there. So once you've read through it, please call staging. You need to call them to make your flight arrangements from your home of record. That means where you're leaving in the United States, where you currently live. So once you call them, then we're going to book your domestic flight. That's our responsibility to book. And with that said, I did want to answer a question that was sent in to Arianna, which is, when I call Sado Travel to set up my flight arrangements, Peace Corps will cover the cost of the plane tickets. Yes, will cover your cost to staging. We've already purchased your flight from Philadelphia to Lima. And after 27 months, you get one more flight from Peace Corps, and that's the flight home at the end of your service. Do I need to make arrangements only from my point of origin to Philadelphia or from Philadelphia to Lima? As I mentioned now, you're going to be booking your domestic flight from your home of record to Philadelphia, and with staging. I'm sorry, with SATO travel. And if you need to arrive earlier, once you call SATO, they're going to walk you through that process. So let's say you live in Alaska. So you will not be able to make a flight from Alaska to Philadelphia and arrive by 12 o'clock. So we're going to have you arrive earlier. And that's something that Peace Corps pays for. Now, if you want to see your friend in Philly and arrive that weekend, you can do that as well, but that's going to be at your own expense. That being said, if you arrive early, we're going to pay for your flight and your hotel the day before staging, which is April 27th. If you arrive at your own expense, then you have to both pay for the flight difference and also your hotel that night. One more thing that I did want to mention, if you have any questions about this, let me know, email or phone call. But once you've arrived at staging, what we're going to do is we're going to take your student loan information. So bring all your forms, your student loan deferment forms. Make sure that they've all been filled out, and all that needs to be done is we are going to just acknowledge that you are entering on duty as a Peace Corps volunteer. And also another thing that I recommend is that you bring stamps and envelopes, because we will be returning your birth certificates if you've submitted those, and we'll be returning your personal passports. And if you don't want to take that with you to Peru, you should mail it back to your family or whoever you want to leave that with. And please let me know if you're going to be driving to staging, and I will provide you with reimbursement forms so that we can reimburse you for mileage to staging in Philadelphia. If you do on that domestic flight, let's say from Georgia, let's say you live in Georgia, so your domestic flight from Georgia to Philadelphia, Delta Airlines charges you for an excess bag, or any US airline charges you for an excess bag. That's not more than, so we give you two 50-pound bags. So if the airline charges you for that, then please bring your receipts with you, and we're going to reimburse you for that at post. You should not be bringing more than two 50-pound bags, but if you do, you will have to pay that overweight excess baggage fee. And we always recommend that you not bring more than you can carry. Let me see. I know it's hard. Okay, so I see that there are some questions here. So I sent in my birth certificate with my passport application. I would prefer not to bring that down to Peru with me. So do you know if it would be possible to get the birth certificate upon arrival at the hotel so I can send it home with my mom? Okay, yes, absolutely. That's what I just mentioned. So just make sure, that's the first thing we give you. Upon registration, you sign your no-fee passport, and I take that back and I give that to you at the airport. And I return to you whatever you sent us, which is either the birth certificate or your personal passport. And at that time, you can either mail it home or you can keep it in a safe place. Okay, other question. Is there any reason to bring our personal passports to Peru if we still have them with us currently? No, there really is no reason, unless your plans are to travel extensively, but you should be okay to travel with your Peace Corps passport after service. Anyways, I think it's good up to, I want to say 3 months after you leave Peru. But anytime you go home, let's say you go home for Christmas or New Year's or anything during your 27 months in Peru, you should travel with your Peace Corps passport because it has your visa in it. So when you return to the country, you want to show that. So you shouldn't really be traveling with your personal passport.
Okay, great. Well, unless there are any other questions, I think that's it for today. Is there anything else, Amy or Enrique, you guys want to add? All set.
In regards to packing or any other questions like that, you definitely are welcome to reach out to me. I know it is hard, like Marcela said, to figure out what to pack for the next 2 years of your life. So feel free to reach out to me on Facebook or email, or to your mentors. I think we set you all up with a mentor as well. So let us know. Don't hesitate to ask. We're excited to meet you all in a month.
Yeah, we are preparing everything here for your arrival, guys. I was just drafting a document, approving the document that Marcela will be sending you. That's called the Bridge to PST. So please do take a minute or two to read that. There it has like a lot of important information for you. And as Amy said, do reach out to us. If you have any questions, okay, we're here to help you and to answer all your questions that you might have. And get super excited to practicing your Spanish. So you get here in Peru to start living the experience of serving in this amazing country.
Okay, well, thanks everyone for joining us. And yeah, please be in touch if you have any questions.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. See you soon.